seeks recognition?
Mr. Chairman.
There's one.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ms. Hageman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I strongly support the Border Security and Enforcement Act. Since Joe Biden took office, our southern border has been in a state of chaos with little to no operational control. This is not because of the hardworking men and women of our law enforcement, border security, and immigration enforcement, but because of deliberate actions or lack of action from President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas. Since President Biden took office, CBP officials have encountered over 4.8 million illegal aliens along the southwest border, and another 1.5 million known illegal alien gotaways have successfully avoided detection and entering the country. My state has 560,000 people. Since Biden took office, over 10 times the population of the state of Wyoming have illegally crossed the southern border. Last fiscal year, CBP encountered a record 98 aliens on the terrorist screening data set, and 856 aliens died attempting to cross the border, and those are just the ones that we know about. Women and children are being trafficked into the U.S. under inhumane and cruel conditions, and narcotics like fentanyl are depriving countless Americans of their loved ones. This is a national security crisis. This is a humanitarian crisis, and this was all avoidable. The Biden administration's dereliction of duty in enforcing our nation's immigration laws have created this crisis. The fact is that Joe Biden is the largest human trafficker in U.S. history. I am proud to represent the great state of Wyoming. We are not a southern border state yet the escalating crisis at the border has created issues for our state as well. Statistics from the Wyoming Department of Criminal Investigation show a significant increase in fentanyl seizures within the state. In 2022, the Wyoming Department of Health put out a notice titled "Fentanyl Burden Growing in Wyoming," as the number of synthetic opioid-involved overdose deaths more than quadrupled between 2018 and 2021. Further, the DEA Rocky Mountain Division, which covers Colorado, Montana, Utah, and Wyoming, has seized over 5.8 million potentially deadly doses of fentanyl just in 2022. I promised my constituents a top priority as their representative would be to conduct oversight into and find solutions to this growing problem. In the course of this oversight, our committee has heard from the brave law enforcement officers on the front lines of this crisis. We have heard from border communities like Yuma, Arizona, who feel neglected and forgotten by this administration. In the field, I promised the people of Yuma and all of the other border communities that their experience represents that we have heard them and that they are not forgotten as this administration wages war on their communities. We heard about the almost $30 million in uncompensated health care for illegal immigrants, the border communities serving as a processing center for asylum claims to be sent deeper into the country, cartel control of the border as Mayorkas and Biden have lost operational control, and the threat to our food supply and security. Notably, this legislation would keep in place the right to apply for asylum while overturning the incentives the Biden administration has unlawfully put in place, which draw people to our border. It will increase penalties for knowingly violating our laws and visa requirements. It would end Biden policies leaving unaccompanied minors, as the New York Times described, as alone and exploited, working brutal jobs across the country. This will restore operational control of the border in a manner which removes the U.S. government from the business of human and drug trafficking and which reinforces the rule of law and protects children and families. These policies will be attacked by the Democrats, those on the other side. They already have. But that is simply because those who have promoted these policies or provided political cover for them have no serious response to the crisis that they have created. So they resort to political buzzwords and deflection. I urge all of my colleagues to support this bill. It is what we need in this country at this time. I would also request unanimous consent to submit into the record an article entitled "Mayorkas Smuggled 100,000 Migrants into the U.S. Through a Hidden Parole Pathway." And with that, I yield back.
Without objection, the gentlelady yields back. Who seeks recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
Reserve a point of order.
The gentleman reserves a point of order. And the clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute offered by Mr. McClintock of California, offered by Mr. Nadler, beginning on.
Without objection, the amendment will be considered as read. The gentleman is recognized to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My amendment